evening. Welcome to Investigator News. This is World News and Corruption Files tonight. Well, I got a whole big list of some news, and the Corruption Files itself is what is going on. Have they pushed us too far? What is too far, folks? Was it when inflation hit? Was that too much? Was it CRT? Do you have kids in college or school that it's got your goat? Was it just the administration itself? Is it the border? Is it, have they pushed us too far? And I believe they have. And I think we're seeing not just a lot of Republicans getting very angry, but the Democrats, because they're not seeing what they were promised. Uh, what was it? Inflation wasn't going to take that long. It was only going to be a brief period of time. Things would get better. The Inflation Act, that we're going to see help next year, maybe for just a few people, not everyone. Uh, will that lower the inflation? I don't think it will, because we're going to be paying for it for a very long time. Um, and boy, I tell you what, over in Russia and Ukraine today, Russia attacked the center of Kiev with drones during the morning rush hour. Russian forces also shelling other cities around the country over the last few hours. And according to a Ukrainian uh, interior minister, several people have been killed in the Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities. And according to Ukraine government, the attacks were carried out by Iranian maids and what they described as suicide drones. I don't know if you've seen um, the videos on it. It is, I cannot believe these drones, these suicide drones, were taking down huge buildings. And I thought, oh no, you know me. I'm like, okay, Putin, wait a minute now, because there's people driving down the street. There's innocent civilians, and I was very disappointed in this. And the country's military says it's destroyed 37 of the drones since Sunday. This started Sunday evening, and Russia's defense ministry says it carried out a massive attack on military targets and energy infrastructures and government facilities across Ukraine using high precision weapons. The new wave of Russian drone attacks in Kiev forced people to scramble for cover during the morning rush hour. And the second successful week, Ukrainian military officials showed journalists a fragment of a drone that they say used in the attack. And written was the word of Belgorods. That's a Russian region bordering Ukraine that has been hit by shelling recently. And meanwhile, in the Ukrainian port city of Mykolaiv, Russian kamikaze drones hit storage tanks for sunflower oil. And at one of the port terminals, the attack taking place for hours before explosions broke out. And the capital of Kiev, from suspected Iranian made drones, Mykolaiv, which is located near to the Russian occupied Hassan region, has been under constant shelling in recent months. Ukraine is conducting a counteroffensive to try to push Russian troops out of the city. Um, and now Ukrainian President Zelensky says that heavy fighting is going on um, around two towns in eastern Donbass region, which they say basically it may be a foreign to them, but they consider it theirs. The situation on the front line has not changed, and the last day, the key hotspots in Donbass were Solda and Bakhmut, and where very heavy fighting is going on. And there were also prisoners that were taken from both sides, and they said that for serious crimes. and they are kept at the front, not only being offered money, but also by the promise of amnesty from both sides. Now, Zelensky says he's asking for either money or military equipment. I don't think Russia's going to let him have it. So um, now, North Korea, now they're getting pretty intense. Now, this almost sounds like a World War III report that me and William do. And it's getting really tense near the Korean Peninsula after a barrage of missile tests by North Korea. Um, and its arch rival, South Korea, has launched its annual defense drills. And the country has been holding multiple joint military exercises with the United States. Now, one thing I do know is today NATO is kicked off a nuclear war games that they are doing, and so this is going to be very tense over there in the South China Seas, and that was my concern. And this is what Taiwan is also concerned over, is because one wrong maneuver can set up a very bad ending, is what they're saying. And this night maneuvering is set up attack by North Korea. And remember, they aim is to practice. And this is what they say it is. They are practicing. They are getting ready. They want to be ready, nuclear wise and war wise. And this is a wartime scenario, they say. And just last week, tensions flared after North fired another missile. Now they have shot. No, we haven't heard about this. Now, according to my reporters, they shot more than 500 artillery missiles and flew multiple warplanes near the sea border soon after South Korea imposed its first unilateral sanctions in nearly 5 years. The ally is accused North Korea of uh, completing a preparation for its first nuclear test since 2017. The two sides have been trading barbs over the last few developments, and the military drills are taking place at a much greater frequency than any other year or in history. The international community of brewing a nuclear conflict is the issue. And this is going to be the 26th year that South Korea has been holding this test. So it's nothing new. But according to North Korea, they're lying. They don't do this. Now, I did look it up. They've been doing these exercises every year. It's just Kim Jong Un saying lie, lie. And so that way he could strike back, or he could get in there and play a military game of his own. Um, and so the biggest concern, though, folks, is Taiwan. And Taiwan is watching them very, very closely. Um, um, and they're just like, it's like I mentioned before, they're just worried that I'm getting warning signs. I'm sorry, I'm getting more, my computer's giving me warnings. I don't know why. It just says something about my camera. Um, so if I go out, I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be like a Schwarzenegger. Um, I don't think that's what it is. I have to look at it. So if I poof, I'll be right back as soon as I can. All right. So North Korea and South Korea. The big thing is uh, North Korea's propaganda that they keep pushing out, and it went horribly wrong. Um, on It was supposed to be a military drill where they showed off the air power to the world, and it was this is how it's supposed to be. But just days after, Pyongyang ran massive air drills with 150 planes reported or more sororied to the skies. A top data expert said images of the drills were plainly photoshopped to make the exercise look larger than it was. According to the U.S. funded sources, said the drills conducted between the 6th and the 8th required a month's worth of intensive pilot training and burned through precious jet fuel, and which had been in short supply since the 1990s. According to the press, North Korea planes flew as close to 7 miles from South Korean border late Thursday and Friday. This is what I was just telling you about, that Taiwan is worried about. And this training exercise, the entire Air Force has made a fuss and conducted intense training last month. Despite of the shortage of the jet fuel, many aircraft participated in the drill. So if we're so low on fuel, what the hell are we doing in the skies? Shouldn't we be saving this fuel? I mean, that's just my opinion on that. Now, as far as the Photoshop pictures, that was North Korea after it was said and done. They wanted to show their big force that was up in the sky, that flexing his muscles. And it ended up being just a few planes and the rest were Photoshopped. So there you go. Even North Korea's got to jump in on the big Photoshop and to fake things and to lie to people. NATO basically have kicked off their war games as of Monday. I told you about this. And American B-52 bombers will be joining and other alliance members as they simulate a war of annihilation with Russia. And when I read this, folks, I thought, oh boy, it's not pretty. I can't see. I mean, how do you practice killing? I mean, destroying everything. I mean, it's just, we fire, they fire, and minutes later, everything starts, it's gone. But they want to kick off nuclear war game. And the war games are dubbed Steadfast Noon. And they're scheduled to run through the end of October. Belgium is hosting these exercises, and it will take place over in the North Sea and the United Kingdom. And some American aircraft will take off from bases in North Dakota. And Mary, you might want to know about that. Wrights-Patterson is another base that they'll be using. Now, according to NATO, the exercise Steadfast Noon involves 14 countries and up to 60 aircraft of various types. Surveillance, tanker aircraft, as done in previous World War exercises, but they said this is a little different. So they're going to go ahead and bring in the US B-52 long-range bombers. As long as nuclear weapons exist, NATO will remain a nuclear alliance, is what they say. And approximate, they say, area of the exercise, they say aircraft of the 4th, 5th generation fighter jets, as well as surveillance tanker aircraft and long-range bombers will take place in this. They said if we created the grounds for any misunderstandings, miscalculations, and Moscow will now see that the willingness to protect and defend all allies. And this might risk the increase of escalation of war, but that's not what it's intended for. Just keep poking the bear. Yeah. Yeah, boy, now that I finished that article up, let me touch on this Biden ice cream thing. First of all, he was smacking, just eating that ice cream, crunch, crunch. There's too many kids out there that would just love to have that ice cream cone. That's what I thought. And then when I heard him say, oh yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, inflation, nothing wrong with that. I'm not worried about the United States. I'm more worried about the world. That should have told you right now that this administration doesn't give a damn about the United States. The only thing they care about is foreign policy, foreign resources that they can get a hold of to make them rich. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Oh, yeah. Um, I was disgusted. I was disgusted by the man, and he owes every kid in the United States an ice cream. He needs to send the ice cream trucks all over this country because it was rude. There is inflation is so high, people can't afford ice cream in some places. We're talking, when is the next homeless person even going to have the choice of ice cream? Probably not in a very long time. And there are homeless families all over this country. Not to mention, I found out today that, oh, hold on to your seats, folks. We're spending about $26,000 per illegal in this country to take care of them until we get them where 83% of the illegals are now in homeless shelters and homeless camps and very pissed off that they're there. That's not what they were told. And then all of a sudden, guess what? They cut that money. Now they're on their own. Well, I don't think they need to be giving anybody that came in this country in January $26,000 by this time right now. Hotels, uh, food, clothing, um, extra money, phones, phone cards, blankets, toiletries, everything they want, food cards, lots of food cards. So, nope, I don't go for that. Um, um, Bill Gates. Now, I think mentioned this at the last show, and I'm like, you can't be serious. Bill Gates, folks, he has went to the White House and he said he'd spend his own money on this to consider a style of sun dimming. He says this way solar geoengineering, reflecting some of the sunlight in order to cool Earth. Since they can't get China, Russia, or other countries to get rid of their fossil fuels, this would be a different way to limit Earth's exposure to the sun. The focus will be research associated with climate intervention. Guess what they want to bring back? Chemtrails. They want to block the sun. They want to block the sun so it will cool the earth. Now, guess what? They've been there, done that already, and they said, oh, no, that's tinfoil hat stuff. That's a conspiracy. Now they want to really do it and say that it's going to work when all that it did will cause the greenhouse effect, which caused the earth to warm. So they want to rewarm the earth again? Um, and he wants to pay for this. He's serious. He said, well, there are many other series on how to implement um, solar geoengineering. The three main ideas are stratospheric aerosol injection, chemtrails, marine cloud brightening, and cirrus cloud thinning, uh, aluminum particles. Have you guys ever seen the fog sparkle? Any of you out there? Have you? There it goes again. He keeps giving me a warning about my camera and my sound. I don't know what's, and this is a brand new camera. All right. So exactly, they want to stratospheric. Let me make sure I say this right. Aerosol injection. That is chemtrails. Been there, done that. And Ivanka Trump. And get this, not only the daughter Ivanka, but the ex-wife Ivanka was part of stopping chemtrails, as well as the youngest daughter. I think even the son was a little bit on this, but that's why we started seeing less and less of the crosses in the sky. Well, so now, when the reporter said, was that the crosses that were in the skies? And of course, guess what Bill Gates said? Well, of course, it was a trial. It was trial run to see if what it would do and if it would work. Well, if you remember, the scientists did come out and say that it did cause a global warming, not global cooling. So what a bunch of ding dongs. Been there, done that, and it didn't work. Now they want to really pay for it. So now are they going to go back and give me all my shows back I did on chemtrails? Because I was banned my first year for 3 months, folks, over this. And because I was pushing um, geoengineering and weather modification, and they told me that it was a conspiracy. Well, now they've been mentioning it, and the Weather Channel has come out with it, and now there's the big climate thing. I'm allowed to talk about it, and so it tells you, I was right with all of this, and so now they're very serious. This is what they want to do. Um, they say that the White House research plan would study different ways to limit Earth's exposure. As well, this could have the environmental and human health. It could worsen it or it could better it. But they say, we already wore those things, and we might have to again, just so that they can fix uh, the planet warming up as quick as it is. Data. Now, that's what I was looking for when I started running through this, the stratosphere aerosol injections. Um, the second layer of atmosphere, they're calling the global dimming that would cool the planet. Marine cloud brightening is similar to it. And it uses reflective particles. Now, that's why I was saying, have you ever seen sparkles in the fog? Now, the first time I seen it, I thought someone had slipped me something because I was coming home from work. And I mean, I felt good. And then I hit a fog, like a fog bank. Uh, and I was driving home from Yuba City into um, Beale Air Force Base. And there's like a farmland that runs all the way to the gate. And I hit it, and it was almost like my Jeep was getting kind of choked a little bit. And then I seen the sparkles in the fog, and I was like, what the heck is this? And then I start thinking, did someone slip me something? And um, you're censoring yourself. um, and I'm going to throw some of these up. Um, So this is what we're looking at, folks. Again, is we're going to start seeing unusual weather. Now, I'm hoping they don't grant him this. He's willing to pay for it, but I don't think it needs to be allowed back in our skies. And for the simple fact that they were saying this, they were calling them calm trails. Oh, airplanes do the calm trails. That's what you're seeing. And I fought tooth and nail. I even tracked down one of the airports here in Arkansas that was doing it and talked to them, and they said, "Oh yeah, yeah," and they told me what was in it: aluminum, barium, stratum, and they said the aluminum particles are almost like uh, like if you get stripper dust. That's the only way I know how to explain it. It's that fine. It's little, small, little tiny particles of aluminum, and it reflects the sun, and that's what was starting to cause us not to see the blue skies that we see today or before then. So, and I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this because I got a lot of other news articles, and plus the big deal on the corruption files. So, um, this is something that Bill Gates wants to do. If anybody asks or you repeat it and you say, where'd you hear this crap? Well, you say, well, Ellie, for one, no, it was Bill Gates, and he's willing to pay for this. So, and he's serious. I can't believe it, but he's serious on it. Portland's Walk of Shame, folks. And what is Portland's Walk of Shame? It's the same Walk of Shame that we see in Seattle, except for now the people are fed up. And they say all the Walk of Shame is done was they have burnt out police departments, they have burnt out government buildings, courts, city halls, city offices, and they moved in. They looted every store they could possibly loot, and they ruined and burnt down small businesses and restaurants. And then came the homeless, they say. And they felt very sorry for the homeless, but then they wanted to direct traffic and stop people. Then they wanted to police everybody. But then what it became was a hangout for drug addicts, is what they said. And they were getting more and more demanding and robbing more people. Well, Portland Walk of Shame is had it. They are now Portland, not only Oregon, but Washington is now looking that they could change to a Republican governor, but also a few mayors might need to be Republican to get rid of the smut that's in their streets. There's a change happening, folks. I seen that and I went, yes, finally. Uh, I have family moving and friends that live in Washington State, like William and other family members, but also in Oregon. And it's very trying on them. And they said, we go up there and we run into more Republicans than we do liberals. They said they're all around Northern California. And I agree with. When I lived in Eureka, boy, they were thick. You catch a cold and they would think you had the plague. And they were like, and the colds and flus out there on the coast is weird, especially in Eureka. All right, I'm going to move on. Where is William today? Boy, he'd get a kick out of all this news. We had 11 officers shot in 1 week all over the United States. Now, the other one um, the Christmas parade assassin, I call him, killer, the one that ran over all those people during the Christmas parade, he is on trial right now. And you want a good laugh, folks, go watch him. Not only has he shaved his head, because I seen him and it was a African American, and he had the dreads, and I thought he had a beard, and he almost looked Arab to me. And I thought, no, I think he's just maybe strung out on something. And now he's shaved, and he is trying to delay his trial. And not, it has nothing to do with the 11 officer shot. Let me get that clear. But if you're into court TV and crime shows, would be a case for you to watch. I'm on and off watching it because I do watch. I just finished up Parkland shooter, and he was found guilty, and he's going to serve life in prison. And a lot of people are upset about that. Now, this next one I'm watching is this one with Darrell Brooks, and he is the Christmas parade. And I do this because the news people really need to keep an eye on these mass killings that are done. Because if we don't, will you guys ever know that we just set them free or not? See, that's my issue with a lot of this, is when you get these mass shootings and the media make a big deal out of it, then they go away and they don't go back. Well, we need to make sure these people get life or they get the death penalty, whatever the jury may select for them. But it's something we do need to keep an eye on so we can make sure these criminals do go. Instead of hearing, oh, you know what, they were found not guilty, then we'd have Christmas parade guy running people over at the next parade. And we don't need that. What about New York? We've got these beautiful holiday parades coming up, and there's people that want to be just like them, and they're copycats. And so we need to know when these guys do get punished, and we don't let them out. This guy Darrell Brooks is, he's defending himself. He's denied, or he refuses a public defender or his own lawyer. He's very disruptive. He won't wear a suit like he should. It's just very chaotic. So if you want to watch a trial and you like that court TV stuff, go give it a watch. They do have updates, and I say the best place to watch is Crime and Law and Crime. It's on YouTube. And they do updates, and you can look at this guy and see how crazy it is. There's like some clips that are like 5 minutes, and you're just like, I've had enough of them. If I was a judge, I would throw them in the other room and never let them come back. All right, we're going to move onward. So, Now they did. Now the polls that are coming out, folks. I don't believe these polls. These polls are stupid. Um, they were saying that 41% of the country likes Biden again. It was 30% last week. How did he gain? How did Joe Biden gain points in a week? How did administration gain? What, he went to a ball game or he went to California this week? What? I don't understand that. And it wasn't even the polls in California that actually went up. Nowhere where he went. He's just getting popular all of a sudden. Everybody likes him. Um, and no, I don't think so. Don't. So these polls, I think they're warped. I think something is wrong with these polls, and it's very disheartening because I truly believe in these polls, or at least I did. And the polls are basically now starting to have the Americans believe that the Democrats are pulling ahead by just a few. Folks, think about this. 1 month ago, they were 20 points behind us. What have they done to gain 20 points? And where's their popularity? Do you realize that 80% of their campaign funds is spent on abortion? They're advertising abortions. That's their prerogative if they want to spend 80% of their campaign money. But does that gain 20 points in less than a month on the polls? I don't think so. Um, and not only that, but um, when they asked, now, if you ask a Republican the same question, because it came out when 92% of Republican voters, registered Republican voters, and even the independents claimed that this world is socialism. Well, they're trying to say because um, the Democrats have now decided 40% of them think that this is turning to socialism in a way that they have to go with that number. No, 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 no. I think it's time that we revamp these polls and get these and fact checkers and figure out how a better way of getting accurate information, because you can't go from a 20-point loss to being caught up and on the verge of winning in less than a month. It's just that has never happened in history. Um, um, let's see. There is, get this, this is happening on the border as we speak. Rival drug cartels are open fire on each other with 50 caliber weapons. These are huge guns. This is bigger than an AK-47, folks. This is a 50 caliber. It's huge. Now they are fighting over the border rights of who's going to own that border. So not only are they fighting there, but they're also fighting with Border Patrol on our side. And they say this is the cause of Texas and Arizona descending National Guard to the border to be able to secure this. It's not to secure the people, it's to secure the border itself in case the cartel decide to try to take the American side of the border in the midst of this rival that they're having with. And it doesn't, I thought maybe it was Las Cetas and Sinaloa gangs, but they're not even talking which ones they are. And they do that, I think, due to the fact they don't want to give them any prestige. It's almost like when you have a killer, you don't really like to mention their name because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear their name on TV. And I think this is why they're not saying which of the cartels and the gangs down on the border are doing this. The other thing is uh, uh, during a lot of this, and some of them that were captured, the only thing they wanted to chuckle about was how Sinaloa has now, they say, successfully put thousands of MS-13 and ISIS into our country. and called us a bunch of naive fools. It was the authorities in California. Thousands. Think on that. Thousands. Why does California need thousands of MS-13 and ISIS terrorists? Yeah. Something's up. Something's up. Now, I want to give you my opinion on this. This is kind of part of my corruption files. I want everybody to be very careful the day after. We got 22 days, 22 days to change, and the world could be changed. I have, and I've told Dave Hodges this. I have a feeling that they're going to rise up. They're going to claim that we won unfairly, and they're going to rise up in our streets. And now, I hope, this is my perspective and what I've listened to, and the Twitters, the Facebooks, some of the data I found out from Antifa and a few other gangs. Some of the gangs have told me that this is the plan to rise up the day after. So be very careful. But at least you know. And if it doesn't happen, thank God. If it does, at least we kind of got the heads up on it. I have no proof. I'm just saying I have a lot of hearsay, a lot of people telling me this is going to happen. So, oh yeah. We just have to stay strong. And you know what? We're going to have to stand up, and we're going to have to go against these people. 22 days we could change the world. If you have a neighbor that can't make it to go, you put them you say, come on, you can come with me. I called my grandkids and I said, you going? See, I can't say the word VOTE. Unfortunately, I cannot say that. And, I've even tried to put a little box up that has like a little emblem. And I found out that's not allowed. So, some things are allowed on YouTube and it's not allowed on Facebook. Some things are allowed on Facebook, not allowed on YouTube. So I have to go with, if it's not allowed here, I can't do it there. So I just don't do it. And I'm trying hard to keep this channel. I really am. And so that is what's going on the border. And I do want to mention, and I mentioned it on the last show, of white hand grenades that are washing up on U.S. beaches around Newport Beach in Oregon. They're describing white cylinders bearing labels, identifying them as hand grenade simulators. 3 cylinders were found on the shore between Laguna Bay State Park and Agate Beach. They have found, they said, 30 of them on another beach. They said it's close to right about 40 of these cylinders. And they're being found as far as even the Northern California beaches. They say they are a flash type of bang. They resemble a large sphere with several instruments jutting from its top. The word inert was printed on the side to indicate that it was a training device, not an armed explosive. But the Broward County Sheriff's Department has worked together to recover these, and they said, do not touch them. They could explode. So these are flashbangs, and we still don't have William in here, Linda, to tell us about these. Grenades. Like I said, they're white. And on the markings, it says M116A1, and it says simulator warning explosive. It says a hand grenade on it, and it's basically gives you firing instructions on the device. So we're going to be very careful with those, aren't we? You find them on the beach, call the police department. Do not touch them. They are basically closing off some of the beaches where the majority of them have been found. So, yep. And then now we have a radioactive waste found in Missouri. Um, and this was underneath a elementary school in a suburban St. Louis where nuclear weapons were produced during World War II. Now, according to the report, and the Boston Chemical Data Corp, they confirmed the fears about contamination at the Jana Elementary School in the Hazelwood School District in Florissant, raised by previous Army Corps of Engineers. They have stored these wastes, and according to what's going on, it was the school sits next to a floodplain of Coldwater Creek, which is contaminated by the nuclear waste, and they have been cleaning it up for the last 20 years. Also, they say levels of radioactive isotope, lead 2-110, polonium, radium, and other toxins were far in excess when the Boston Chemical had done samples. They said dust was taken, water and soil samples, and also scrapings of the walls of the schools. Inhaling or ingesting these radioactive materials can cause significant injury and permanent damages. Um, so the new report is expected to be a major topic. This is going to be released tomorrow, it says. I looked further into it, guys, and found this really quickly right before the show. So radioactive material was found under the school. And I'm very upset about this. We have got these places all over the United States there where we have nuclear waste and radioactive in drums that we used to throw them in the oceans. Now we don't do that. We're putting them in caves and sealing them up. But we do not need to put schools over the top of them. I don't know if they forgot it was there, but there should be a map, and it should be considered classified. It should be held at the Pentagon, and if the Pentagon sees anybody in the vicinity of trying to build anything there, it should be denied, and they should be run off. I said put solar panels over the top, but this is very hazardous, and it should not be happening. Not in this country. Not in this country. So, okay. Um, Now, we have one of the latest crisis that is going on over in Europe. And as we know, Europe and UK usually get things worse than we do. Well, they're in the dark. They're no power. Is something that could be happening here. The thing about it is what do we have to compare with? Would be California. And what's going on in California with Newsom. And don't let Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff or Maxine Waters. These are senators and congressmen that are making decisions for the state. Uh, and they are making really bad decisions. And what it is it's getting close to where they can just take your house. Uh, there is programs and policies like the homeowner associations is one that makes so many rules and regulations. They can fine you thousands of dollars just for not mowing your grass or that bush is a little brown. Uh, the other one is uh, they they um, uh, they start raising the cost of um, interest, and interest would affect your mortgage payment, but it would also affect those that are renting. It's knocking the rentals out. See if they can raise the mortgage, let's say a homeowner, and if I owned something and I had an apartment on it, they would make it to where I had to raise my prices so high that people could no longer live in it, and it makes it empty. This is what you see in China and North Korea, folks. You know, all these empty apartment buildings because no one can afford it. Who could afford a zillion dollars a month? As it stands, in San Francisco, it's going to be about $1,500 for a studio apartment, and you don't get to see nothing out the window but another building. It's happening in New York, Chicago, and this is what they're doing. The more that the feds raise the rates, the more we're going to see mortgages go up, the more we're going to see your rent go up. And they're trying to chase people out. Why? Because if you lose your homes, the state can take over it, and then they can rent it out for everybody. And basically, it's control. The other thing is the grid. Now, they're making us buy these EV cars, and this is California. And then they said, "Oh, you don't plug it in. We're going to have brownouts." Now, the first thing I thought of is, "Oh, there's your control right there." All they have to do is say, everybody can only use their car every other day. They can only use they can only charge their cars up every other day. Well, get this. They were already talking water rationing. This is how they did water rationing. You can only water on odd or even days depending on your address. Well, they did it with cell phones too. In LA, a friend of mine and a friend of mine in San Diego said the same thing. They were saying, depending on your address, you could charge your phone when they were having everything going dim, and also during the wildfires. So, all of a sudden they have control over your phone. They got control over your house and your electric. They got control over your car. Is you starting to see what's going in place. That's why I said at the beginning, how far is too far? And you know what? California's absorbed it. They're like, yeah, come on. I love it. Throw inflation up. There is signs in California today with gas prices $7.04 a gallon. And they're like filling it up. Yeah. Yeah. But the only problem with that is now the stars are vacating. Hollywood saying, well, okay, they're taking a second look at all this. How far is too far to push these Democrats for them to wake up and say, no, this isn't right. I'm sorry, start pointing fingers at these guys. I mean, they're the ones voting for it, folks. I mean, we didn't vote for $7 a gallon. We didn't vote for inflation. We didn't vote for a family size package of chicken to be $15. We didn't vote for this because we were warned. I warned everybody for years this was if they got in, they were going to crumble this country as fascist, Marxist, socialism. And I kept saying, watch Venezuela. And have we become Venezuela? California has. And this is why I wanted to point out during today with corruption files that we really have to sit down and take a look at this. Because California is the trial run. We're next. They're saying we might not be allowed air conditioning. We might not, they're telling us to turn our heaters. They're now starting to require that all your heating and AC units have smart meters. Why? They can cut it off just like that, folks. They can just cut it off. They can do that with the phones. You know what? And they even during the brownouts, they looked at high tech and said, you know what? We got problems with the cable, the phone, the 5G, and all that. So now they're working with those high tech out of San Francisco. Boy, I can't remember. High Tech Alley, where Microsoft, Facebook, and all of them are. I can't think of the name. Silicon Valley. There you go. They're talking to them and saying, we might need control on that pole because people don't listen. So what we're going to need is when we say brownout and we need people not to be charging their phones and other things up, cut it. The only thing you're going to have is your 911 notifications and be able to call the police department. And that's what they did. That's what they're doing all over the country. They're doing it. And not only that, the farmers that are rising up in the Netherlands is, I mean, I can't believe it. They're just yanking them off their farms saying they're not growing no more. They're not going to grow no more farms. That's it. They're done. So where's the food going to come from? And that's what they're saying. But at least they're brave enough to protest. I'm not saying I'm not saying walk on down the Capitol and protest peacefully. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not even telling you to protest. But we have got to be ready. Mary says, tell them about prepping, Ellie. You can only prep so much, but if you have to leave, you have to take all that prep with you. And if you're canning in jars, how much of that can you actually carry with you if you have to leave? Because sooner or later, I think of it as they're just going to pack us all up and they're going to haul us off to the FEMA camps. I don't know. They probably not. We're probably going to be fine. You're like, oh, be the scaremonger today, Ellie. No, I'm not. I'm just getting you prepared for this because we are now looking at the crossroads of the Democrats, and they're at the crossroads, and they're looking at the devil in the pale blue light, saying, "Come on, enjoy the water. You will have nothing, and you will love it." And we're looking over there saying, no, we don't have it. We're losing stuff and we hate it. And don't fall for it. But they're listening. They're listening to it. A good example of how dumb this is we're now hearing Mayorkas saying, it's because of the Republicans saying that the border's open with the media that's why the illegals think the border's open. We're not the one. We get stunted. We're not allowed to talk about that. They zip our lips. They duct tape us. They knock us off line. They punish us. The only ones talking about the border is ABC, NBC, and CNN, MSNBC, Rachel Madcow, and the bunch. They're the ones that are pushing the border. And they're saying it's not open. It's not open. Yes, the illegals coming over. Oh, yeah, it's wide open. We're coming for the free stuff. And they don't even like Biden. That's the whole thing. What's funny is they don't even like Biden because they're hearing they have to go through this process of, of like a torture waiting period. And then they get thrown in a homeless place before they even get to be free. So they're talking you go through a homeless jail like the Uyghurs do in a way. They re-educate you and then they put you out on the streets for you to be an American. I don't know I don't think it works like that. But see, that's exactly that is the lie. And that's the lie that they're telling their own voters. And I know all of us have lost close family, close friends to them saying, you know what, because of Trump, I hate you. And it's, what do we say? You're wrong. Now, what is being found is these people, when you get to where you're one-on-one with them, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to get angry. Then they're going to start name calling you. Then they're going to put you down. They're going to call you a liar. They're everything they could do to not have to have a discussion, have a debate. You tell them, give me the facts. Oh, they don't know. Well, NBC said it. Here, I'll show you. And they show you this clip that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. You don't know how many times I've run into these people. And they're like, and I'm like, what's that have to do with what I just said? Well, because they're right. And I said, and I'm not right? Well, yeah, you're truthful. Yeah, Ellie, you're truthful, and you do present stories that nobody else talks about, but that's who you want to be with. we think that eventually the Democrats are going to lead us out of this inflation and we're all going to live in Disneyland. And I'm like, okay. And you're smoking Alice in Wonderland's caterpillar pipe. Who are you? And how far do we go? How far do we go? Yeah. But we have to stick to our guns. And the thing is they are now finding ways through policies. This is where I want to really get this. It's individual states. Now, Trump, when we had the riots and the protests, remember he said, "I'll send National Guard." Now, he can't enforce that. It has to be the governor because of per state. But a state can decide to do that. Now, the state can also make up its mind, like Newsom, and say, you know what, we are going to say, you have to get rid of your gas guzzler, which they say you do by, I think it's 2027, which means you can't even have it on your premises. Okay, if there's no gas, then what happens to your lawnmower? What happens to your weed eater, your chainsaw? What about if you use a generator for heat in the wintertime? Now, this is what's scary. This is what has happened in Europe. They're saying sorry. And it's what really sad. Now think on this. This is where we're going to plan. They have said they don't want people having gardens or farm animals on their property. There is laws that say you can't. You have to, like, you might not be able to have a chicken coop. You might be able to have a doghouse with 1 or 2 chickens. Would 1 or 2 eggs help you? If you had to cut down, if it's just you, could 1 or 2 eggs help you every couple days? Free eggs for a chicken, for a couple chickens. Okay. The other thing is vegetables. They were against planting your own gardens. Now it's kind of coming back. The other thing is wood. You're going to have to start stockpiling some wood because what's going on in Germany right now, I've told you about it. They can't even go pick up a piece of wood anywhere. And if it comes down to you staying warm in the winter and they say, you know what, you can't use your heater because it's propane or gas. Sorry, you can't use it. What are you going to use? You're going to be stuck with a wood burning stove. Start getting ready for that. It may not happen. 22 days, this world could change. And that's all we can pray for. I have the faith and the hope that it will. But if not, Ellie will be here for you guys. I'll be here and we're going to muddle through this and we're going to, we're family, folks. When you come to my page and you listen to me, yeah, I laugh, we have fun. Ellie cracks a few jokes, but I am serious. And I care about every single one of my viewers, I think 12. I think they're, I don't know, about close to 1,400 now, because I got different pages. And I love every one of you guys. And if you guys needed me to call, I would call. If you need to call me, I would let you call me. Ask my viewers, the ones that are close. I'm not gonna let you guys go without. There's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way. And start watching Survivor, because I get a lot of tips from that. So if it ends up that the only thing you're going to be able to use is what's on your property, where your house is, your neighbor's border to your border to the street and then the backyard. That's going to be the only thing you're going to be able to use to support and take care of yourself with. And that's why start your sprouts in the winter. You can grow inside plants, inside veggies. You could grow tomatoes inside, folks. And you could drink, if you squish your tomatoes good enough, it almost comes out as water. You could drink it as fluid. Start bottling your water up. Start using bottled water because we don't know what's going to happen with this water situation. Um, and as far as wood, that way they can't tell you, oh, you can't go to the park and get no wood. Oh, we ain't selling wood. We're not selling those bundles of Presto logs in the store anymore. You're gonna have to do it. Learn how to flint start a fire. That's very important because you know what happens if they take the lighters away. We just don't know how far is too far. How far is too far for them? How far is it too far for us? And so get you a flint. Linda, I'm serious. Go get you a flint and learn how to use a flint. And you know what? Once you learn how, you're like, I'm going to show the neighbor this one. But you'll know. And if you don't have matches or a lighter, it comes in handy. You got to stockpile wood. You got to start thinking about water resources. You got to start thinking about planting a garden of only what you eat. Because you know what? Over in Europe and the UK, you can't sell your tomatoes to your neighbor. It's not allowed. You can't even give it to them. You have to consume it yourself. This is stuff I've heard about in Africa from my friend in Kenya. That happens to him. Only the school can have it. And there's like 2 or 3 different schools I keep track of. So it only grow what you can eat or what you can, or you can dehydrate, or dehydrate, or I can't remember the other one, freeze dry. It gets you one of those seal meals, the thing that seals up and start doing that. Um, Beef jerky lasts a very long time, folks, and it be hydrated. And it does get soft, mushy. I wouldn't, canned goods and packages and that, they have expiration dates. Watch that. I myself is stockpiling noodles, rice, and all of the individual packages, you see in the store with the gravy mixes and all those. Good flavoring. You can, and all it takes is add water. All it takes is add water. What about packages of only add water to oatmeal, or maybe cream of wheat if that's what you like. I know as much as we all hate it, powdered milk. Get some of that. You never know. You just never know. Um, we have to get ready, but we have to only get what we can use. I don't think we're going to be trekking off in the wilderness, but I think we're going to be confined to only what our house can produce. And that's what's going on in Europe and Poland and the UK and the third world countries. And this is very important. And I didn't know whether to present this under corruption files, but everything that I've said today is so corrupt. Um, uh, Most of the globe that should be blaming Klaus Schwab with World Economics, I'm sorry. They should be pointing their finger at him. You know who Europe and these third world countries blame for inflation and them going under and starving and trying to live off their property? The Biden administration and the Green New Deal. We're blamed for it. They say America, that Biden, America, that Biden. And when they say America, that means us. And, when it comes down to the churches, then we worry. Because eventually it's going to be, we can't go to the churches. We're not going to be able to leave our property without permission or armed guards like it is in Kenya. If you want to go shopping, well, you know what? You're going to go up the street and you better make sure you got clearance and all the proper passports, IDs, the name of your firstborn, and then your fingerprint, maybe blood, and maybe they'll pluck your hair. And William, there you are. So, this could happen. This could happen. William, there was white grenades that are being found in Oregon that are washing up on shore. They are, and because I've almost finished up, and I wanted to tell you about them. They're white hand grenades, or they're training. Let me try and pull this up real quick. They're labeled simulator hand grenades M1165. Everybody wants to know about that for our show Wednesday. Yeah, everybody's glad you're here. They're like, we want William to tell us what these grenades are, and then also about the nuclear waste that we bury, because some radiation has come up under a school in Missouri. So there's another one. So write it down, William, and we're going to probably do a big show on that. But we are fixing to close, and I just want to say, folks, like I said earlier, this is when you join Investigator News Network, Investigator News 2, investigators over on Facebook, or Hellions, Holes, and Poles. We want to strive to be not a cult. We're not a cult. We are one big family that moves forward. We want to look out for one another. I never ask for money. When I say thanks for your support, it's just being here, or saying to a worker, you should hear this woman. She's funny as hell, but she has really good news. Yeah, I'm a little bit dingy, but I'm going to give you the truth. I'm always going to strive to give you the truth. That's what investigator news is about, is finding the truth, presenting you the facts, and making sure you have the truth. So you know what to do. So, and we share. Yeah, we share. We don't kiss strangers, though, is like that one funny list thing had. We don't go up and kiss strangers. So anyway, folks, that is it for today. And share. We need to get I'm at a new time zone, and if you're seeing me for the first time, give me a week or two. I'll grow on you. I swear. Ask Linda. Well, no, I'm going to say ask Susan and Mary and Nick. I grow on you. And, it's like I said, we're there for one another. And if you have a prayer request, send it. I'll ask for a prayer chain. If you want to show us a puppy like Linda, I'll show your brand new puppy, your brand new baby. And you know what? Congratulations to Jen and Geordie. They just got married. I didn't bring the picture, but they just got married. I don't know if they're big fans, but I do know every once in a while he does watch. So congratulations and best wishes. If you have Bigfoot story, UFO story, send it all in. If you've seen the creature from the Black Lagoon, let me know. Because we got the Soggy Bottom one over here. We do a little bit of everything. Crimes, just like I was telling you about the trial that's happening. Go ahead and send it. You see investigator news at yahoo.com. Send me your stuff. I'd love to show it. Or if you just have a private request or want some info that you're kind of don't want to, too shy to mention in chat, send it on. So with that, folks, please subscribe. And I can't wait for the show with William. The news that came out today with the drones. I really want to know about them. Kamikaze drones, William. That came out over the weekend. And I like doing this Monday thing now because I'm able to get what I see on the weekend and move it to on Monday, where I can get the news to you guys a little bit quicker. And not only that, the other thing, before I forget, I had it written right in front of me. It is now known that Putin and Jinping have been communicating weekly, bi-weekly, sometimes 2-3 times since March. And they are plotting on getting gold together, resources together, or minerals together. But not only that, but planning how they're going to do a partnership and move forward in this war against NATO. And that's, to me, very scary. And this comes from not only my reporters from, and this is what's really odd. I heard it out of Crimea. I've heard it from two people up around the Middle East. One was in Israel, one was in Syria. I heard it over in out of North Korea. Um, there was someone that mentioned it, but they disappeared after they had mentioned it on Twitter. Not only that, but my two reporters over in Taiwan. This is being brought up over and over again that Putin and Jinping have been calling each other biweekly, and that they have got this all, they think, planned out. Now, Jinping's thing, and William, here's another thing I heard. They said, according to what my reporters in Taiwan are saying, that if we send our naval fleet, and you know how we feel about our fleets, if we send one over, it is a trap by Jinping to sink our fleets. And he thinks he can absorb the firepower and sink our ships. And then there was another one that they have, Jinping has now purchased land in Colombia to put in for satellites for Star Wars. And he said it puts him getting a base big enough that he can point rockets at the United States. So, William, that's a lot, huh? That's a mouthful right there. So this is probably a lot of what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. So if you're interested in these topics, come on back Wednesday. If not, I'll be here tomorrow. It'll be news tomorrow, lots of news. And then, of course, if you like the lifestyle news, come on back for lifestyle news. It's an hour before the world news. We're on at 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern time. So with that, folks, we will see everyone tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to try to cram a bunch of information into these shows, whether I go an hour, hour and a half. I want to give you guys the most important news stories there is that's out there. So, William, give me a little bit, and you could probably call me this evening. I'm free. I kicked everyone out of the house, and I'm singing Lynyrd Skynyrd's "Freebird." So maybe that's the song for today. All right, folks, we will see you all tomorrow. God bless, and share, share, share. And if you're new, share. And keep coming back, and I think I'm gonna grow on you. All right, we will see all of you tomorrow. God bless, and bye-bye.